Yo, what up? How you guys doing out there today? This is your boy Roto Beast. I'm here to present you my NBA morning shoot around for Wednesday, November 27th. If you're new to this channel, please make sure and click the subscribe button below so you can watch all my NBA, NFL, and MLB videos. If you haven't came and checked out our website here at dfscheatsheet.com, you're absolutely missing out. We have all the tools to help you compete with the pros day in and day out, including a complete optimizer, tons of content, daily Fanduel and Draftkings cash signups. Hey, we're truly a one-stop shop for our DFS needs. So make sure to check out the site here at dfscheatsheet.com. So we got a monster 14-game slate heading into Thanksgiving tomorrow. Should be a pretty fun slate tonight. There's a couple of really good games that are on the slate. Definitely going to sit down, watch some basketball, and relax. Ugly weather outside, perfect time to kind of hang out and just check out some basketball games, man. So I'm ready to jump in this video real quick. Before we do, one quick thing I quickly wanted to mention, we will be having a NFL Thursday slate breakdown, breaking down tomorrow's NFL slate. That'll be posted up a little bit later today. So make sure you have those notifications turned on so you don't miss that video. And we can, definitely, make some money on Thanksgiving. That's always the funnest day for NFL football, in my opinion. Plus, we've been on absolute fire with NFL. To really start the season. So, yeah, man, make sure to check that out when that video comes out. And, let's go. So we got we'll start at point guard, and we'll kind of work our way down. First we'll start at the top. We got a couple guys. That will lump together. I think they're both coming in a little bit cheaper than they should be. You got Damian Lillard, 9,200. Russell Westbrook, 8,600. These are dirt cheap price tags for both of them. Yes, Portland is struggling a little bit. If they're going to turn their season around, it is going to be with their superstar. I think it's a very fair price tag for Damian Lillard. On the flip side of things, for Russell Westbrook, he's definitely been up and down this year. Don't get me wrong. Him and James Harden, they basically kind of take turns who's going to have the better game or whatnot. But at 8,600 for Russell Westbrook, this just seems too cheap. All you need is 42, 43 for value. We have him projected at 47 today. So I think that you can look at him. I think it's a decent spot for Russell Westbrook. It's just definitely a dirt cheap price tag. Then you got Kemba Walker. It's the same thing, man. 7,500 in a very good matchup against Brooklyn. He's just too cheap. The guy's averaging like 43 fantasy points a game, and all he needs on this price tag is 38. We got him projected for 38 fantasy points on today. I think it's just too cheap for Kemba Walker, and I think that he's a solid play today. And then on the flip side, you got Chris Paul going against Portland. We talked about Portland's struggles, and this is a spot where Chris Paul could have a solid game. He has been up and down this season, and he's a little bit on the back end of his career, but he can definitely really have those good games. And Chris Paul is a gamer. He's one of those guys that he's going to get a matchup against Damian Lillard, another all-star point guard. He's going to step up to the challenge and really want to go heads up with Damian Lillard today and prove that he still got it. So I like Chris Paul. You got Ricky Rubio at 7,800. He's been playing very well on the season. Been given really solid floor. He is a game-time decision. Expect him to play today. It's looking like he is going to play against Washington. Washington is a young team that just hasn't even been playing any defense. Every game they're in is basically a very high-scoring, competitive game. High scoring, not competitive, but a high scoring game. And I expect today is the day that Ricky Rubio could definitely get his and have a good day. Moving down to the mid-tier, Kendrick Nunn been in that starting spot for Miami. I think this is a day that you can look at him again in a very up-tempo game against Houston. This game should be somewhat of a track meet up and down. Miami's a young team as well with a bunch of young guys that like to run. So I think that Kendrick Nunn's a guy that we can look at in GPPs. A couple more guys. I think you can look at Dragic. Coming off the bench for Miami now, but he's in that six-man role, still getting a bunch of run in a very up-tempo game. This is a type of game that Dragic could come in and definitely thrive. I like Dragic. I think he's in a solid spot here. And then you got Corey Joseph, man. He's been in that starting role since De'Aaron Fox has been out. He's getting the run. The minutes are there. It's all about if he's going to score or not, man. He definitely gets all the peripheral stats. He just doesn't really look to shoot the ball. If he's going to score, I think that's a solid spot at 5,000. You only need 25 for value. We got him projected at 25, a solid 5X on your return. Moving on to shooting guard. We'll start at the top. We'll work our way down. Keep it easy. Keep it simple. First thing first, you can definitely anytime James Harden is on the slate, you can look at James Harden. It's not the best matchup going against Miami. They are a pretty good defensive team. He'll probably draw a matchup. against Jimmy Butler. Actually, no, I'm sorry. Jimmy Butler, it's looking like, yeah, Jimmy Butler actually is looking like Jimmy Butler's out today, so that does give a little bit of an uptick bump for James Harden. It also gives a bump for a guy like Dragic that I mentioned, a guy like Nunn. There's going to need some extra production to come from that Miami team. James Harden, like I said, anytime he's on the slate, you got to consider him. Bradley Beal going against Phoenix, a very up-tempo game. This is a spot where I think that Bradley Beal could definitely thrive. Devin Booker, I talked about Ricky Rubio. Same thing with Devin Booker. Washington doesn't play very much defense. It's a track meet type of game is really their style of play. That kind of suits Devin Booker well, and I think this is a good spot for him. Moving down a little bit, I mean, I'm looking at a guy like Lou Williams. We know that Kawhi Leonard's out tonight with rest. Lou Williams should draw that start, should get some extra run. If that's the case, man, then Lou will. If they're going to need him to score some baskets, we know the guy can definitely score some baskets. You got to feel confident that he's definitely going to do that. Devontae Graham for Charlotte. The young guy's been playing very, very well. A lot of people haven't been playing him. I think that he's a really good GPP play. Going to be low owned, and he's a guy, that he can fill up the stat sheet. We've seen it already several times this year. In a decent spot right here for sure. Moving on to the mid-tier, we'll start. I think a guy like Norman Powell. He's been getting a lot of extra run with no Lowry out there. So I think, 5,000 against New York, this is a spot for Toronto. It's a really good spot that they can have a very good game in Powell. He's been getting the minutes. He's never going to get crazy off the wall production, but he's a guy that you could feel pretty comfortable with, just giving you some minutes. I wish the price tag was a little bit lower. So he is a GPP play for me, but I think that you could consider him. A couple more guys in the same price tier. Tyler Hero, he gets a bump today with no Jimmy Butler. I think this young guy is going to get all the minutes that he can handle at 4,900. I think I would play him a little bit more in cash games than I would Powell, just because I know he's going to get those definite minutes. And then also you can look at Garrett Temple. He's a guy that's been in that rotation. Brooklyn's been hit by injuries, and he's been in there playing some pretty good ball as well. Lastly, a GPP guy I'll throw out there. I think you can look at Terrence Ross going against Cleveland. He's a guy that could put up points quickly, get to match up against Cleveland, a young team. GPP play, obviously, but I think that he's a guy that you could really look at today. Moving on to small forward, I mean, we'll start at the top. Anytime Antetokounmpo's on the slate, you got to look at him. Great matchup against Atlanta, a very up-tempo game, back and forth. Giannis is on a really good stretch right now. I just don't know if I want to pay 12.7, but the floor is there, something that you really got to like. LeBron James on the flip side, definitely think he's in play. You save $1,500 off of LeBron, off of Giannis. The floor isn't the same. I feel like Giannis's floor is a little bit higher, but LeBron does give us the same ceiling. They both have 70 fantasy point upside. We got the news that Leonard's out. Paul George, 9,600. You can save 1,600 off of LeBron James. I think he's a guy that I probably want to look to focus on. If I want to pay up a small forward, he definitely gets a big-time bump with no Kawhi Leonard today. He's going to have a really good game. I mean, I feel like he definitely will against Memphis. So there's some obvious spots we could pay up for here at the small forward spot. Then we'll go down a little bit. Siakam against New York, I think is a GPP play you could look at. Brandon Ingram going against his old team. I like it a lot. I think that he has a chip on his shoulder, something to prove. It is not only that he's been going against his old team, but he's been playing very well all season. So we got to give him some of that credit as well. Moving down, Tobias Harris going against Sacramento. I think that this is a really good spot for Tobias Harris. Alec Burke. I mean, they're asking this guy to basically step in and be the Curry or be the D'Angelo Russell that was scoring 25 points a game. They need scoring. Alec Burke is their best scorer that they got right now with everybody else being hurt. GPP play, but I think that you definitely could look at him. A couple guys on the little bit lower end. I think we can look at DeAndre Hunter for Atlanta. He's starting, getting a bunch of minutes. I think that you can look at him. And also Joe Harris, a guy that, with all the injuries going on out there in Brooklyn, LeVert, Kyrie, etc., they're short on the wing. And Joe Harris is a guy that can light it up, shoot the ball very well. Definitely a guy who play against Boston. Moving on to the power forward spot. Anthony Davis, anytime he's on the slate, you definitely could consider him. I mean, they're going back to New Orleans. I think that if I was going to play Anthony Davis or LeBron, I think it would be Anthony Davis today. I think this is the day where LeBron will take a back seat. Like, hey, Anthony Davis, this is your old team. They brought you to the league. You guys had a lot of drama before you left. Get yours. Let's have a monster night. Let's feed you the ball. I can really see that. Anthony Davis, I think, is a really, really, really good play today. I think you can really look at Bam. They're going to need some scoring with no Butler out. DeMonte Sabonis against Utah. A little bit of a tough matchup, but he definitely is in play. Jason Tatum is playing very well. I like this Boston team as a whole. In an up-tempo game against Brooklyn, this is a favorable matchup for them. LaMarcus Aldridge going against Minnesota, 7,500. He's a guy the price tag's down a little bit. You need 37 for value. He's averaging 39 on the season. Definitely think he could get you at least 5x right here, and he does give you 50 fantasy point upside as well. Draymond, if Draymond does play, I think that you can look at Draymond, 7,400. Good matchup against Chicago. It's just we got to wait on that news and see what we hear from there. Blake Griffin is coming in really cheap at only 7,000. All you need is 35 for value. This is a dirt cheap price tag for Blake Griffin, and I think that this is a solid spot. I think he's a really good GPP play here. And if we want to save some money, I think a value play we can really look at is Frank Kaminsky going against Washington. He's been playing the minutes with the injuries and with the guys being suspended, etc. All you need for value is 20 in a very up-tempo game against Washington on the second end of a back-to-back. I think that Phoenix can get this game. They've been playing well for the most part this season. And Kaminsky, 4,000. We got to project at almost 25 fantasy points, which is a little bit over 6x. So you'll definitely take that and kind of move on. Finish it off with center. There's all kind of clump up a couple guys. I think you can look at Karl-Anthony Towns, 10.9 against San Antonio. San Antonio doesn't have a real big that can stop Karl-Anthony Towns, so he's a good play. Joel Embiid, 9.7. I think he's coming in at a very fair price tag in a favorable matchup against Sacramento. They're a small team. They don't have no real center. Joel Embiid, he's looking like he can have a really good game today. Andre Drummond, 9,300 after the really hot start to start the season. He definitely has kind of slowed down a little bit. Nonetheless, the guy can give you double upside any night. We know we get that from him. Whiteside against OKC, not the best matchup going against Steven Adams, strictly a GPP play. Harrell, he gets a bump whenever Kawhi Leonard's out. They look for him to score the ball a little bit more. So I think you could throw him out there at a 7,800 price tag. Miles Turner against Utah, we got to wait and see what happens with Gobert. I like him a little bit more if Gobert's out. But either way, I think that he's a GPP play that we could possibly look at. Moving down a little bit, there's a couple good value plays down here. First, we'll start with Podol going against Towns. It's not the best matchup, but Towns isn't a defensive player. He's more of an offensive player. He stands on the perimeter. I think that Podol could definitely have a solid game here. Also, we can look at Jackson Hayes, for New Orleans. He's been playing some minutes, and he's been producing, playing very well. They like this young guy. I think that he's a guy at 4,400 we could consider. Also, we can look at Matt Wagner for Washington. They're starting to give him a little bit more uptick in minutes. 4,300 in an up-tempo game against Phoenix. This game could be very high scoring. They could go deep in the benches on both sides. And I think Wagner's a guy at this cheap price tag that we could possibly consider as a GPP play. So that's really where I'm at. With this video, I gave you about 7 or 8 plays at each position. I wanted to give you a little bit more in-depth analysis just because it is such a big slate and there are a bunch of potential guys that are on the board. So definitely, hopefully that got you guys started with your player pool for today. Hey, you got this optimizer back up, fully running. Check it out tonight. There's some good tournaments. I'm going to run 150 lineups and kind of see if I can have some fun getting ready for Thanksgiving tomorrow, make some extra money for those NFL slates. So, hey, if you want to check anything else about tonight's slate or you want to get ready for tomorrow's NFL slate, make sure to check out the site, dfscheatsheet.com. And hey, good luck on your guys' contest, all right? Peace out.